students, now let's start our new chapter, chapter 7, composition and decomposition. The main concept you are going to learn in this session, notations for algorithms, algorithm design techniques, composition, decomposition. There are 4 algorithm design techniques are available. What are they? Specification, abstraction, composition and decomposition. In the previous chapter, we have discussed about specification and abstraction. In this chapter, we are going to see about composition and decomposition. Okay. Now let's start our topic. Okay. First topic is notations for algorithms. We need a notation to represent algorithms. There are mainly 3 different notations for representing algorithms. What are they? Programming language, pseudocode and flowchart. These are the 3 different notations for representing algorithms. Let us discuss them one by one. First, let us see about programming language. Programming language is a notation for expressing algorithms to be executed by computers. What is program? An algorithm is expressed in a programming language is called program. Okay. See some examples for programming language. C, C++, Python are the example of programming languages. Programs must obey the grammar of the programming language exactly. Even punctuation symbols must be exact. So when you are writing program, you have to must obey the grammatical rules. Okay. You cannot write programming using natural languages such as English or Tamil. There is a translator which translates the program into instructions executable by computer. If our program has any grammatical errors, this translator will not be able to do the translation. Okay. Next, let us see about pseudocode. Algorithms is expressed in pseudocode are not intended to be executed by computers, but for communication among people. Which means pseudocode is a notation, it is also similar to programming language, but it will not executed by computers, it is only for human readers. Okay. It can be written in plain English. There is no need to follow the rules of the grammar of a programming language because this pseudocode is not for computer to execute directly, but for human readers to understand. Okay. Next, let us see about flowcharts. Flowchart is a diagrammatic notation for representing algorithms. It shows the control flow of algorithms using diagrams in a visual manner. In flowcharts, rectangular boxes represent simple statements, diamond-shaped boxes represent conditions, and arrows describe how the control flows during the execution of the algorithm. So, you can call it as a flowchart is a collection of boxes containing statements and conditions which are connected by arrows showing the order in which the boxes are to be executed. Let us see one example flowchart. The flowchart of an algorithm to compute the quotient and remainder after dividing an integer a by another integer b. See, this is the flowchart. These 2 are special boxes. It is used to indicate start and end of the execution. These boxes are parallelogram boxes. It represents input and output produced. Okay. Here inputs are what? A, B. Okay. A is one integer and B is another one integer. You have to divide integer A by another integer B. These are the inputs. And the outputs are quotient and remainder. Quotient means Q and remainder means R. Okay. And the next one is rectangular box. Statements are written in the rectangular box. In the rectangular box, QR is given. Its values are 0, A. And the next one is diamond box. A condition is given within the diamond box. It having 2 outgoing arrows labeled as true and false. Here one condition will be given within this diamond box. If that condition is true, then you have to execute this statement. If that condition is false, you have to execute the false statement. Okay. If your condition is true, you have to execute the statement and again check the condition. Again, if that condition is true, again execute the statement. So continue this process until the condition becomes false. Once the condition becomes false, you have to stop your execution there, okay? So now let us see about composition. What is composition? An algorithm is composed of assignment and control flow statements. What do you mean by assignment statements? We have already seen assignment statement in the previous chapter. It is a simple statement. It is used to change the values of the variable. What do you mean by control flow statements? Compound statements are also called as control flow statements. Statements composed of other statements are known as compound statements. Okay. These statements are used to alter the control flow of the process depending on the state of the process. Okay. Which means one condition will be given. Based on that condition, the process will be executed. Okay. Let us see an example for assignment statement. In the previous chapter, we have discussed about farmer, goat, grass and oaf problem. I have already explained about that problem. See here, this is the solution of that problem. Okay. Let us see the solution with explanation. Okay. A farmer, goat, grass and wolf problem. A farmer must transport a wolf, a goat and a bundle of grass from one side of the river to another side of the river using a boat. But in the crossing river by boat, the farmer could carry only himself and a single atom, the wolf or a goat or a grass. The goat cannot be left alone with the wolf because the wolf would eat goat. And the goat cannot be left alone with the grass because the goat would eat grass. So, how can the farmer transport the wolf, the goat and the grass across the river without losing any of them? This is the problem. You have to find out the solution for this problem. How can you solve this problem? Let's say this, the farmer transporting the wolf, the goat and the grass from point L to point R. L means left side and R means right side. Okay. First, the farmer transports the goat from left side to right side. In the left side, the wolf and the grass are together. Wolf can't eat the grass. Then farmer returns to the left side. He picks the grass and transports the grass from left side to right side. The goat cannot be left alone with the grass because the goat would eat the grass. So the farmer transports the goat from right side to left side. Then the farmer transports the wolf from left side to right side. Then farmer goes to back again. In the right side, the wolf and the grass are together. The wolf will not eat the grass. Then at the end, the farmer will transport the goat to right side. This is the solution. Next topic is 3 control flow statements. There are 3 control flow statements. What are they? Sequential, alternative, iterative. Let us discuss them one by one. First, let us see about sequential statement. A sequential statement is composed of sequence of statements, which means one by one. The statements in the sequence are executed one after another in the same order as they are written in the algorithm. So, the sequential statements are executed in the sequential order. Okay. See here, 2 statements are given, S1, S2. S1 is one statement and S2 is the another one statement. Sequential statements are executed one by one in the sequential order. So first S1 will be executed, after that S2 will be executed. Okay. Next statement is alternative statement. Here on condition will be given. A condition is a phrase that describes a test of the state. You have to check that condition. If that condition is true, then one statement will be executed. If that condition is false, then another one statement will be executed. In this example, C is the condition, S1 and S2 are the statements. Condition is given within the diamond box and statements are given within the rectangle box. First you have to check the condition. If that condition is true, then S1 statement will be executed. If that condition is false, then false statement, which means S2 statement will be executed. Okay. Let us see one example. Minimum of two numbers. Two numbers are given, A and B. You have to find the minimum of two numbers using alternative statement. This is the name of the specification, minimum, and these are the inputs A comma B. And next check the condition. If A is less than B. If A is less than B means what? You have to check this condition. You have to find out the minimum value. Okay. If A is less than B, then you have to print result is equal to A. Which means if this condition is true, then you have to print the result A. If that condition is false, result is equal to B will be printed on the output screen. Okay. Alternative statements are divided into two types of statements. What are they? Conditional statement and case analysis. Now let's see about conditional statement. Sometimes we need to execute a statement only if a condition is true and do nothing if the condition is false. So in some places we need to execute a statement only if the condition is true. But if that condition is false, you don't need to execute that statement. Okay. See here, if condition is given and statements are given, if that condition is true, then you have to execute the statement. If that condition is false, you don't need to execute that statement. Which means nothing happens. Okay. Next, what do you mean by case analysis? In an alternative statement, there will be two cases. But in case analysis statement, multiple cases are available. Which means multiple options are available. Okay. Case analysis splits the problem into an exhaustive set of disjoint cases. See here, C1, C2, C3 are conditions and S1, S2, S3 and S4 are statements. Here you have to check condition 1 first. If that condition is true, then statement 1 will be executed. And also case analysis statement ends. But if that condition is false, you have to check another one condition C2. If that condition is true, then you have to execute S2 statement and stop your execution there. If that condition is also false, again check the condition 3. If that condition is true, you have to execute statement 3 and stop your execution there. But if none of the conditions evaluates to true, then the default case S4 is executed. Okay. See this example. Comparing two numbers and produces the result. Let us take two numbers A and B, and here three comparisons are given. A is less than B and A is equal to B and A is greater than B. See this algorithm. Compare, this is the algorithm name and A, B are the inputs. First case is A is less than B. If A is less than B, you have to return the result -1. Otherwise, check the next condition, A is equal to B. If that condition is true, then the result will be 0. If both these two conditions are false, you have to execute this else path, which means A is greater than B. If this condition is true, then result will be 1. Okay. Next statement is iterative statement. An iterative process execute the same action repeatedly based on the condition. Okay. If you want to execute the same set of statements repeatedly for a certain number of times, then that statements are called iterative statements. It is also known as looping statements. Okay. What are the example for loops? For, while, do while. Okay. Here while loop is given. While, next C is the condition, yes is the statement. First you have to check the condition. If that condition is true, then you have to execute this statement. This statement will be executed repeatedly until this condition becomes false. Once this condition becomes false, the statement will not be executed, which means that the loop will be terminated. Okay. See this example. Construct an iterative algorithm to compute quotient and remainder after dividing integer a by another integer b. So now you are going to divide integer a by another integer b. So a, b are the inputs and divide is the algorithm name. Let us assume the values for a and b. A is 22 and b is 5. A and b are the input values and q, r is the output values. The output variables q and r change their values in each iteration. Iteration starts from 0. 0th iteration, first iteration, second iteration, third, etc. Okay. So output variables q and r change their values in each iteration, but input variables a and b do not change their values. The iteration 0 shows the values just before the loop starts. Okay. So in 0th iteration, q value is 0. Q is equal to 0 and r value is a. A means what? 22. And next, check this while loop condition. R is greater than or equal to b. What is the value of r? 22. And what is the value of b? 5. Check this condition. 22 is greater than or equal to 5. This condition is true or false? 22 is greater than 5. So this condition is true. So you have to do the next step, which means q, r is equal to q plus 1, r minus b. You have to change the values of q and r. Okay. How will you change? Q is equal to q plus 1, which means q value is what? 0. 0 plus 1 means 1. So assign that value in q and r is equal to r minus b. What is the value of r? 22. And what is the value of b? 5. So 22 minus 5, which means r minus b. Okay. 22 minus 5 means 17. So assign that value in r. Okay. So now the values of q r variables are 1, 17. Okay. Again check the condition, while loop condition. R is greater than or equal to b. What is the value of r now? 17 and b 5. Compare these two values. Which one is greater? 17 is greater than 5. This is true. Okay. So you have to execute the next step. Q r is equal to q plus 1, r minus b. Q is equal to q plus 1 means what? Q value is what? 1. So q plus 1 means 1 plus 1, that is 2. So q is equal to q plus 1 means what? 1 plus 1, 2. So q is equal to 2. And next r is equal to r minus b means what is the value of r? 17. 17 minus b means what? 5. So 17 minus 5 is what? 12. So r is equal to 12. So now q and r values are what? 2 and 12. Okay. This is the second iteration. And next, again check the condition. R is greater than or equal to b. What is the value of r now? 12. What is the value of b? 5. So compare these two values. 12 is greater than or equal to 5. 12 is greater than 5. Okay. So this condition is true. So execute the next step. Q, r is equal to q plus 1, r minus b. Q is equal to q plus 1 means what is the value of q? 2. Q plus 1 means 2 plus 1. So 2 plus 1 means what? 3. So q is equal to 3 and r is equal to r minus b means what is the value of r? 12. What is the value of b? 5. So 12 minus 5 is what? 7. So r is equal to 7. So new values of q and r is 3 and 7. Okay. So again check the condition. R is greater than or equal to b. What is the value of r now? 7. What is the value of b? 5. So 7 is greater than or equal to 5. 7 is greater than 5. So this condition also true. So you have to execute the next step. Q is equal to Q plus 1 means Q value is what? 3. 3 plus 1, 4. Okay, Q plus 1 means what? 3 plus 1, that is 4. So now our new Q value is what? 4. And the next R is equal to R minus B. What is the value of R? 7. What is the value of B? 5. So 7 minus 5 is equal to 2. So now our new values of Q and R is 4 and 2. So again check the condition. R is greater than or equal to B. What is the value of R? 2. What is the value of B? 5. Compare these two values. R is greater than or equal to B. So 2 is greater than or equal to 5. Check this condition. This is true or not? This is false because 2 is lesser than 5. And 2 is not equal to 5. So here this condition becomes false. So here you have to stop your execution. Okay. So you have to execute these statements until the condition becomes false. Okay. That is the iterative statements. Next let us see another one example. Chameleons of Chromeland problem. In a Chromeland island, there are 3 types of chameleons. Red, green, blue. So whenever 2 chameleons of different colors meet, they both change its color to third color. If they are same colors, nothing happens. If they are different colors, they will both change its colors to third color. For example, if red and blue met, they both change its color to green. If red and green met, they both change its colors to blue. If green and blue met, they both change its colors to red. And 2 types of chameleons are equal in number, which means equal number of red and green, or equal number of blue and red, or equal number of green and blue. You can take any 2 colors in same numbers. Okay. Let us take red and blue chameleons are equal in number. So you have to write red is equal to blue. But the question is, can all the chameleons ever be a single color at the end? Is it possible? The answer is yes. But how can that happen? Let us see that. Okay. Now let us take the number of chameleons of each type by variables A, B, C. A means red, B means blue, C means green. A is the red type of chameleons and B is the blue type of chameleons and C is the green type of chameleons. Next, give the initial values to that variables. So the initial values are capital letter A, capital letter B, capital letter C. So the input property is A is equal to A, B is equal to B, C is equal to C. And one more input property is there. What is that? I have already told 2 types of chameleons are same in number. So red is equal to blue. So this is also one input property. Okay. So write A is equal to A, B is equal to B, C is equal to C and A is equal to B. Because 2 type of chameleons are same in number. Okay. So these are the input properties. Now you have to give the values to that variables by numbers. You can take any numbers. So the initial values of A, B, C are A is equal to 4, B is equal to 4. Because 2 types of chameleons are same in number. So A is equal to 4, B is equal to 4. And C is equal to 6. Here the output is what? All the chameleons should have in same color at the end. So you have to write the output property. A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0 and C is equal to A plus B plus C. Which means C is equal to uppercase A plus uppercase B plus uppercase C. So at the end, all the A-type chameleons becomes 0 and all the B-type chameleons becomes 0 at the end. And finally, all the chameleons will be in same color, that is C. Which means finally, A-type and B-type chameleons both changes its colors to third one, that is C. So the output property is A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0, E is equal to A plus B plus C. Now let us find the solution for this problem. Write iteration. Next write the variables A, B, C. First write the iteration 0 and write the initial values for A, B, C variables. Initial values are what? A is equal to 4, B is equal to 4, C is equal to 6. And next write iteration 1. Whenever two chameleons of different colors meet, they both change its color to third color. So in each meeting, A and B decreases by 1 and C increases by 2. Because if one red chameleon and one blue chameleon are met, they would change its color to green. So one red chameleon decreases and one blue chameleon decreases. They both change its color to third one, that is green. So two green chameleons increases. So in iteration 1, write the values. A becomes 3, B becomes 3 and C becomes 8. In the next iteration 2, do the same procedure again. So A becomes 2, B becomes 2 and C becomes 10. In third iteration, A becomes 1, B becomes 1 and C becomes 12. And in last iteration, that is fourth iteration, A becomes 0, B becomes 0 and C becomes 14. So now check the output property with the solution. A is 0, B is 0 and C is equal to A plus B plus C. That is 4 plus 4 plus 6 is equal to 14. Finally, at the end, all the chameleons are in same color, which is green. So we got the solution. So now let us see the algorithm and flowchart for this Chromeland Island problem. Okay. Algorithm name is monochromatize. One condition is given, that is A is greater than 0. If that condition is true, then you have to execute A is equal to A minus 1, B is equal to B minus 1 and C is equal to C plus 2. Which means A will be decreases by 1, B will be decreases by 1 and C will be increases by 2. When the condition becomes false, you will get the output. So it returns the result. What is decomposition? Problem decomposition is one of the elementary problem solving techniques. It involves breaking down a problem into smaller and combining solutions of smaller problems to solve the original problem. Then the smaller problems can be further broken until they become sufficiently small to be solved by other simpler means. And their solutions are then combined together to construct a solution to the original problem. So this decomposition breaks down the problem into smaller and combine the solution of smaller problems to solve the original problem. Okay. Next let us see about refinement. After decomposing a problem into smaller subproblems, the next step is either to refine the subproblem or to abstract the subproblem. So after decomposing the problem into smaller subproblems, you have to refine the subproblem and you have to abstract the subproblem. Okay. So what do you mean by refine the subproblem? Each subproblem can be expanded into more detailed steps. Each steps can be further expanded to still finer steps and so on. This is known as refinement. So each subproblem can be expanded into more detailed steps, that is called refinement. And what do you mean by abstract the subproblem? We can also abstract the subproblem. We specify each subproblem by its input property and the input-output relation. While solving the main problem, we only need to know the specification of the subproblems. We do not need to know how the subproblems are solved. Okay. So, subproblems is based on input property and input-output relation. And while solving the main problem, we only need to know the specification of the subproblems, but we do not need to know how the subproblems are solved. Okay. Let us see one example. Consider a schoolgoer's actions in the morning. The action can be written as get ready for school. We can decompose this action into smaller, okay, which means eat breakfast, put on clothes, leave home. These are the main steps which she takes in sequence. So we have to do these three actions to get ready for school. we can expand these actions at a more detailed level. Okay, see here. Eat breakfast action is expanded as eat idlis, eat eggs, eat bananas. And the action put on clothes can be expanded as put on blue dress, put on socks and shoes, wear ID card. And the action leave home expanded as take the bicycle out, ride the bicycle away. So here get ready for school is a problem. You have to decompose that problem into smaller, okay, which means you are dividing that problem into smaller, okay. So you are dividing that problem into 3 actions, okay. And if you want to make more smaller, you can write like this. This is the picture for refinement at various levels of details, okay. These are the actions for get ready to school, and these are the detailed actions. These are the more detailed actions, okay. And this is the flow chart. Here condition is given hungry and idlis on table. So now check this condition. If you are feeling hungry and idlis are there in the table, then that means the condition is true. So you have to execute the statement, which means put idlis on plate and next add chutney, okay. And again check another one condition, idli in plate. Check this condition, idli in plate. If it is true, eat a bite of idli. But idli is not in plate, that means false. And check another one condition, hungry and eggs on table. If that condition is true, eat eggs statement will be executed, okay. If that condition is false, again check another one condition, hungry and bananas on table. If you are feeling hungry and bananas are there on the table, that means the condition is true. So eat bananas statement will be executed. If bananas are not there, that means the condition is false. You have to exit the loop, okay, which means the program will be terminated there, okay. Next let us see about functions. After algorithmic problem is decomposed into subproblems, we can abstract the subproblem as functions. A function is like a sub-algorithm. It is also known as subprogram, okay. A function is specified by the input property and the desired input-output relation. To use a function in main algorithm, the user need to know only the specification of the function, which means function name, the input property and the input-output relation, okay. Which means the user of the function need only to know what the function does and not how it is done by the function, okay. Because someone implements the function using an algorithm. However, user of the function need not to know about the algorithm used to implement the function. It is hidden from the users. There is no need for the users to know how the function is implemented in order to use it, okay. So this is about decomposition. I hope you understand. Thank you.